everybody. Welcome back to Turnbark Time. I'm the Turn,
I'm the Bart.
and we are going to be here a long, long time, folks. Well, guys, it is season 5, episode 10. We had a little hiatus last week, just kind of taking a break. I needed a break. Barker needed a break due to
I needed a break and broke my father-in-law.
Yeah, well, let's just leave it at that. So we're back. Parker found this interesting topic. Comes from. Actually, I'm just gonna let you introduce it because this comes right from you. So.
Yeah, this was a topic recommended by one of my OG Barkerists from my first AP World group. So a shout out to Kendra. So go Mavs, Colorado Mesa.
Oh
That's
yeah.
where she'll be next year. So yeah, she mentioned this and it struck a member berry that I'd heard about this once before or a time before. And so today we're going to talk about a man named, only known as Tarrare. Tarrare. Who's a Frenchman who apparently could just about eat anything.
And we don't mean like you dared him to eat. Like he literally would eat anything, like because he was so hungry.
And nobody really knows because he was born, what we do know, roughly, is that he was born in around 1772 in Lyon, France. Yeah, he only lives for 26 years. He only lives to be 26.
Well, he probably starved him.
No, what was it? Tuberculosis.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll get to it.
But spoiler alert, that's how it ends. They die. That's how every great history story, and blah 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 blah, and then they died.
Yep.
So
and the
end. So yeah, I mean, like you would think the thing that I found most interesting, and like there are no real photographs or drawings because he was.
It wasn't important, really.
He was like a sideshow act. I don't want to say like, you know what I mean? Like it's like, had he been in America, what 100 years later, P.T. Barnum would have employed him.
Oh, 100%. 100%. He would be on Mysteries at the Museum like every damn day.
Yeah. So we don't know much about his. It sounds like his appetite was fairly normal early on, but then at 17, his parents kick him off the farm because he was literally eating them out of house and home.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, go ahead.
No, we were having this debate before it, and it just made me laugh because it was like it's one thing, like you have to financially do this, but like you're literally sending a kid who has way too much like appetite, like a ferocious appetite, and like where's he gonna get food?
Yeah, you just can't afford to feed him. Like you don't have the extra calories laying around to feed this man. And so the crazy thing is he only weighed about 100 pounds. But what I did find interesting is that they often talk about how wide his bite was. And he could open his mouth, and they said between the two jaws, when he opened his mouth, it was 4 inches. The average human bite is 1.4 to 2.2 inches.
Dang.
So like his mouth opened up like twice the size of a normal person. Apparently his teeth were pretty nasty. They were stained, and a lot of accounts talk about they were ground down because he chose to put things in his mouth that most people wouldn't.
Yes.
And chew on them. We'll cover that later.
Yeah.
So a slight, I guess. Oh, my brother was saying on our last episode that we should have put like one of those like trigger warnings. That's what it was.
Oh, trigger warning.
So for G baby out there, probably listen to us while he's stocking the cooler at work. Here's a trigger warning. We're going to talk about strange eating habits.
Yes. Oh my God.
So Tarrare, which the name Tarrare is not his real name. It comes from apparently a French term, "Bom bom Tarrare," which means "boom goes the dynamite," which just makes me think of Family Guy.
Yeah. And boom goes
the dynamite.
Yep.
So it's also apparently a euphemism for flatulence or farting. Which,
Yeah.
oh man, some of the descriptions that are out there of what this man could do are
Yeah.
just great. So he leaves home, and like anybody who leaves home in 17, or I guess it wouldn't be 1772. He's 17, so let's do math. That's 80, almost 1790.
Yep.
He throws in with a troop of thieves and
Prostitutes.
prostitutes, or yeah.
Women of the night.
Women of the night. And
Not
he makes his
our Jack the Ripper episode, but different country.
well.
Parker, Tarrare is Jack the Ripper.
Don't
That
think the
doesn't
timelines match
The
up
timeline doesn't match up.
at all. Unless he had a time machine.
Yeah.
Different episode.
But
Anyway, so he makes his money by eating corks, stones, and
trigger warning.
Animals.
Live
Like-
animals.
Like puppies or kittens.
Yep.
Or snakes. And I'm yes, they were living when he got them. They weren't dead, and there's your trigger warning. I apologize. So shortly after, kind of like he makes his way, I think, to Paris.
Yep.
Kind of living like the sorry, I don't want to use that term. The sideshow life.
Sideshow life.
Yep. Try and keep it classy here.
Yeah.
Talk about a man munching all kinds of stuff. He joins up in the army, gets swept up in the, people are like, oh, did he join the revolution because he, egalite, fraternité, and liberté? And it's like, no, he probably joined because in the army you get fed 3 times a day.
Yep. Guaranteed.
Yeah, well, you're supposed to, right?
But
Napoleon said an army marches but upon its stomach, but this is Napoleon's rise, so he's not in charge yet.
Yeah. What's crazy is, though, if you think about it, like even, and I read this when we were talking about it, he joins the army, right? But it's called a ration for a reason. Like it's a set amount still, so it's not gonna be enough to satisfy him. Like even in the army, like the 3 meals a day is not enough.
Yeah, he gets taken to the hospital because he's malnourished. And apparently he had big, bulgy, jowly cheeks that he could use like a chipmunk. And there are apparently claims of him putting a very large number. I heard usually it's a dozen apples. There was one that I said it was a dozen apples per cheek, which, those might have been small apples.
Yeah, like crab
apples.
apples.
There was no way those were Central Washington Honeycrisps.
No, like just a massive honking.
Yeah. They got to be them little crab apples or something,
Exactly.
Anyway, so he's malnourished. He goes to the doctor and he tells the doctor, "Hey, dude, like I need more food." And they put him on. They kind of questioned him. Oh, apparently at one point, backtrack a minute. While he was living the street life, he ate something and it got him really backed up, and they had to take him to the doctor, and they had to give him like the strongest laxative they could find. And he took like the doctor's watch and was like, "Oh," I was like, told the doctor, he's like, "I can swallow this and then like bring it back. Like I'll eat your watch. Like you get it back later, but I'll eat your watch." And the doctor was like, "If you eat it, I will cut you open and take it back." But apparently after he passed the blockage in his GI tract, the doctor said it was the most fetid. Let's see. It was fetid beyond all conception. And Tarrare also apparently put off homie had like stink lines. He was like a real life pig pen. Like
Jeez,
this doctor that's gonna kind of Pierre-Francois Percy is going to say that you couldn't be within 20 paces of this man. Like that's how bad he stank. And teaching, it's like that time that we had the lock-in at the school and you let all the boys sleep in your classroom. And your room smelled like corn chips for like 6 months.
Can we just talk about this really quick? This is a huge side note, and I will try and make it as fast as possible. We started this great idea because one of the things our magazine drive, like fundraiser person was like, "Hey, like just so you know, like you got to pay us for like the prizes. So like the more prizes you make for free, right, the better off you'll make more money." And so we're like, "Oh." It's like, what if we did a lock-in? Like, what if we just let the kids spend the night at the school, like the ones that earn it? very first year we do this, right? And so we came up with this genius plan. We'd go until midnight. At midnight, the boys would all go into my room. The girls would all go upstairs at the old junior high building. And I believe they were with Miss Copenhaver was it Miss Holmes' room?
I believe Miss Holmes' room.
Yeah. So we go, and I'm like, it's literally shoving 7th and 8th grade boys, probably about 40 of them, into my classroom that have been running around since about 5 o'clock and eating nothing but pizza, chips, cookies, and soda. And like, mind you, this is like late November, early December. Like, it's frigid outside, so I can't open my windows. Like, it was.
I think we did 12 hours. I think we went like 9 to 9 or 8 to 8. And then I think after that, we said never again.
Yeah, never again. We now go from like 6 to midnight or 5 to midnight. Like, we never will do that again. But it was, I actually got permission from the school district to leave my windows open all weekend. And when we came in on Monday, it still had a hint of smell. And my kids came into school and were like, what's that smell? And I was like, that's you. That's all of you. Take showers. Anyways,
yes. So Tarrare, the man we're talking about, apparently smelled worse than 40 middle school boys.
I believe that 100%.
Being all stanky in Mr. Turner's room. So anyway, he goes to the military and he says, dude, I need more food. And they go, there's no way you can eat this much. And so they prepared a meal for 15 people.
Yep.
And he ate it all. And that included, so it was food for 15 people and 4 gallons of milk. And if you've seen TikTok, you know that the average human body is not designed for that amount of milk. Not even a gallon of milk. There's the gallon challenge or whatever. And like most people end up having a reversal.
Yeah. I learned don't do that with chocolate milk.
Yeah.
I like chocolate milk and that didn't like it that day.
It's a recovery drink.
Thank you, WIAA.
Yes. Unsponsored solicitation there. So this General Alexander de Beauharnais,
ooh, I like
which I believe happens to be the first husband of Napoleon's second wife.
Oh, really?
Yes. Goes, wait a minute, I can use this man who can eat anything. And so they do a little trial. They take a wooden box and they put a note in it. And they have Tarrare consume it. And then they let time pass and hope the box does too. And it does. Out the other end.
Hold on, can we talk about this? There's a thing we're not talking about, and that is the other end. Like, how big is said box? Like that this guy is excreting.
It's probably pretty small. I
right.
mean, probably some. If you're familiar with, Caught at the Border or How to Catch a Smuggler, probably something of a similar size to the baggies that people are popping.
Got it. Okay.
But I mean, his neck is pretty wide. His bite is bigger. I mean, it's not like he's like shoving a 2x4.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, all the way down there. But
he's like,
yeah. But so they give him a mission. They're going to send him with a super secret message to Germany. Problem is, doesn't speak any German.
Nope.
And when they rewarded him, the way they rewarded him for taking this mission before he left, they gave him 30 pounds of bull lungs and livers to eat.
Raw.
Yeah. So anyways, he gets caught by the Prussians, the Germans, kind of an overlap there during the time period. Yep. They give him a mock execution. They apparently put him up on a stage like they're going to hang him. And then apparently just kind of go, psych.
Yeah.
And then they put him on top of the toilet for 30 hours and wait for, the Kinder Surprise to happen.
Box.
The box comes out and they open it and it turns out that it's actually just a dummy message. There's nothing important on the note. So then they just beat him.
Yep.
And then sent him back to France.
Yeah.
And apparently the beating was so severe that he got back to France and said, I need to get my eating under control.
Yeah.
Like, can we find a way to solve my eating problem? And so they tried. Pierre-Francois Percy was the doctor. They try and solve it. They give him
Laudium.
Yeah, it's opium. I looked it up. It's apparently to drink some opium in it. They give him tobacco pills, white or wine vinegar, soft-boiled eggs, and like none of it really worked out. He was at a hospital while they were trying all this different stuff out. He would eat something called offal, which just sounds like terrible, like bologna on steroids, like in a bad way.
The organs of a butchered animal.
Yeah. He was caught drinking the blood of people. Like during this time period, this is before we understand microbiology, and this is why the barber stripe has the red pole or the red stripe on the pole, where you, when in doubt, bleed them out. Like, it's kind of what led to the downfall of George Washington. But he was drinking human blood. Yep. There's claims that he was eating corpses out of the morgue.
Yep.
And then the final straw, not the fact that he stank, he obliterated bathrooms, was a toddler of about 14 months went missing, and they could never find the babe. And their best answer as to where the babe went was Tarrare.
Yeah.
And I mean, prior to this, he at one point did eat an entire eel whole. He crushed its head with his teeth and then swallowed the whole thing. And there's other accounts that he preferred to eat snakes and then leave them living so he could feel them wriggle as they went down.
Jesus.
Like, homie's not normal.
No, he's got mental illness too.
Well, I mean, they're not sure what caused it. So I guess for me, there's like two pretty big schools of thought of what caused it. One could be hypothyroidism, which means you have extreme, so your thyroids are overactive.
Yeah.
So it causes you to be extremely hungry, lose weight really quickly, sweat a whole bunch, which he apparently was sweaty all the time, and that explains the stink lines, right?
Yeah.
The other thought is that he suffered a traumatic brain injury that caused polyphagia, which is where you just feel like you need to eat and often eat things that aren't food.
Yeah.
And so like they kick him out after the missing toddler happens.
Go
ahead.
Sorry, they sent him to an asylum, I believe.
Or
they tried to. Sorry, no,
I think they tried to, and the asylum essentially says there's nothing wrong with him mentally.
Yeah.
And so he gets kind of kicked out to the street, and then like Percy receives a message from somebody else. He came back into the hospital like right before he dies, and essentially asked for the doctor by name because he's like, this guy knows me, like as a patient, knows what's going on. And he passes away. They perform, I guess, kind of an autopsy. Everything's really kind of sketch. Like, as much as we say this is history, this is one of those situations where like
there's some mythistry. I don't know.
Mystery.
Mythistry.
He did have an abnormally large gullet, or like his throat, his esophagus. No, hold on. Esophagus? Yeah. You breathe in your trachea, right?
Yes.
Anatomy. So his esophagus was wider than normal. They said that if you opened his mouth, you could essentially, like, with a light, apparently, like, see down his throat into his stomach.
That's crazy.
He had an enlarged liver, gallbladder. His stomach took up, like, apparently your stomach's supposed to be the size of, like, two fists, kind of like this, I guess, kind of like in this kind of orientation, kind of like a, not together anyway.
Yeah, it's like a,
Yeah.
Kind
of like juxtaposition.
Yeah.
But most people, so again, like relative to the torso, right? That's not very much space. Apparently his stomach took up like 90% of his torso.
Jesus.
Like, which is huge.
Yeah.
And it was full of ulcers and pus and just was super rank. But again, we're talking about a guy who had such an insatiable appetite. He was eating anything. And it's interesting because during this time, he's not the only one. There's other people.
The same thing.
There was a guy in Kent who had like a really like insatiable appetite as well, and like if he couldn't find food, would eat like somebody was, I can't remember if it was him or another guy, but like they would eat like 5 pounds of grass a day just to like they just had such an insatiable appetite. The only way to like sate that appetite was just to like the thing that they found that was available was grass.
Right. Yeah.
Which Tarrare was like,
I'll
no
eat
sir,
but I won't eat that.
Yeah. And so I thought about it. It made me think about competitive eaters, people like Joey Chestnut and Takeru Kobayashi, who like if you're an OG of the Nathan's competition, Kobayashi was like the dude until Joey Chestnut came out from like the top railing and just destroyed him. But
it's still freaking. It's so Kobayashi used to be just the man.
Yeah. Joey Chestnut can eat 69 hot dogs in 10 minutes, 182 chicken wings in 10 minutes, and in one sitting ate 390 shrimp. Now, the thing about it is, and he can also drink a gallon of milk in 13 seconds.
I watched him too. He was on Man vs. Food because he's from San Jose, and they had a burrito challenge. I want to say the burrito was like 6 pounds. It's like, honking thing. And he ate it in 3 minutes and like 25 seconds or something like that.
But the thing to be said about like the difference between like Joey Chestnut and Kobayashi is that these guys train for like one event at a time.
Yeah.
And like Joey Chestnut talks about the way that he trains, and I think Kobayashi was similar, the way that they train before a big eating competition, the way they stretch their stomach.
Lettuce.
And like Kobayashi has a genetic, he's built different, like literally built different. His stomach is bigger. It's actually like abnormally large, but they would train by drinking like gallons and gallons and gallons of water at a time because like it's easier for your body to process that, I think.
Yeah, isn't it romaine lettuce or something like that too? Is the other thing?
Because it's high in water content.
Yeah.
So like they train for these things and like do it like once. Where like Tarrare was doing this on the daily.
Yeah.
And so like when he dies, he thinks that his stomach is hurting because 2 years prior, he swallowed a golden fork on a dare. And then apparently the surprise never came out of the kinder. So
but when they did the autopsy right? Like they never found the fork. The fork was never found.
No.
Right?
Yeah, so I mean, like, who knows if there was a fork, if the fork was, and like, to be honest, if he smelled that bad when he was alive, one can only imagine the stench. And like, again, he had a bunch of ulcers, probably from eating stuff that you're not supposed to.
Well, and so that's what I saw. So like when he calls Percy in, or per se into the hospital to talk to him about it, he tells him about the fork, and he's like, "This is why I'm sick." Blah 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 blah. And like Percy, like we said, he actually dies from tuberculosis, and Percy knows it. Like he looks at him, knows he's got TB, and he's like, okay, like that's it. But I guess like the other thing I read was that his body started decaying very quickly. Which again, if you have all those things wrong with you, right? Like that would be, I would think that would be the way it would go, especially if you're craving so hungry and everything like that. So
yeah, and I mean, this is one where I think take everything with a big grain of salt.
Oh, he needed it. He needed a big grain.
Just because it is written in the 1700s, and we're taking as best we can from the sources that are available. But I mean, like Percy like wrote about it like in medical journals, like at the time. But I mean, like this is also the time period of a fair amount of pseudoscience. Yeah.
That tells you it. So.
Yeah. You don't feel good? Here's this thing called cocaine.
Yeah. It's great. We'll turn it into a soda, and then they'll take it out. It'll be fine.
So, I mean, really an interesting story. Guy lived for 26 years, and I guess for 9 of those, right, essentially made his money eating whatever people would pay him to eat. Which I mean, I don't know. I've made some money eating a pound burger on a debate trip, which wasn't good for me, and then made an extra $1 for drinking the. I followed the Kobayashi Joey Chestnut plan of you dip the bread in the water to make it go down easier. I didn't quite do the the belly shake that they do that helps make space.
Yeah.
And get things down further. But
you should drink the water. Is that what you were about to say?
I drank what was soda. I think we were at a Fuddruckers.
Oh, there you go.
Go fighting smell, little LCC debate trip. But yeah. And I mean, sometimes you eat stuff like there was a time we used to go to Dairy Queen all the time, and there was a time I threw a penny in the bottom of a cup and drank everything in the cup and swore up and down we couldn't find the penny.
Yep.
I mean, we looked.
Yeah.
So
there's, well, I mean, like you walk into any middle school, high school cafeteria, and there's somebody daring somebody to eat something. So, but yeah, it's just this is tough. Like what's crazy about it is that, like, it didn't necessarily take you into a dare, right? Like he needed the food, like he was hungry, like there was something, So it's crazy, like to think about like having to deal with that. So that's what blew me away about reading about this was that it was just like I could never imagine. Like I think we've all been to that point where like we're really hungry, like in the sense of like we have staple food sources and everything like that, but we'd like to eat, and we did a big workout, we didn't eat all day, whatever it is. But like this guy like had that feeling all the time. So tough life, man. Tough life.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even fathom how much food that is.
No.
And I mean, like even the host of what's his name? His name's Adam, I think. Is the host of Man vs. Food.
Yeah, Adam Richman.
Yeah, so like after a while they stopped the show, and a lot of people said that they were concerned about the impact on his body.
Yeah.
From doing all these different eating challenges. And again, they're challenges. He was willingly going into it going, I know I'm going to eat more food than my body says I should.
Yeah.
Where I think the big difference with Tarrare is that his mind was telling him no, and his body was telling him yes.
Yeah. Oh.
We don't own those lyrics.
We do not.
YouTube, please don't strike us.
Please. Well, and he's not exactly someone you want to be quoting right now. So, but yeah. So anyway, fun topic. Thanks, Mark. I'm glad you found it. And shout out to your OG for bringing that in. Yeah, Kendra.
Kendi. Thank you, Kenji.
Love it. Hey, guys, we haven't had mentioned it in a while, but check out the store. New piece of merch dropped tonight by Barker. It is a beautiful. I've already ordered it. I'm ready. I'm dialed in. I ordered this at like what 10 or like 10:15 at night. I was so excited. I've been wanting him to make this shirt. He made the design. You'll just have to go see what it is. By the way, if you want to go see it, it is the link in our. It's not the link in our bio because it's not a clickable link. You need to go down to our highlights and you'll see the merch store, and that'll take you to the link. So
perhaps I can post a link to it too.
But
in like a story.
The great part of it will be, I'm pretty sure we'll probably we won't be rocking them in the next episode, but the episode after we'll probably be rocking them. So anyway, Bark, anything else?
Don't overeat.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's bad for your health.
That's what it was. Congrats to your kids that took the AP test, right? I know they don't know their scores and everything like that, but good job, guys. Way to go, Ari Long. So,
hoping that we slayed.
I like Marie Antoinette. Oh wait, she got slayed. Never mind. So, all right, guys. Well, if that's it, until next time, I'm the turn.
I'm the Bark. Hopefully they slayed like Queen Mary.
Ooh, there we go. Okay, I got you. And we're going to be here a long time. Have a good night, everybody.
Be safe.
And by golly, you just be well.